Hiya guys, and welcome back to Ades Workshop. And this is going to be part 2 of the compound slide replacement block. There we are, I managed to spit that one out. Right. Before I start, we've had some viewer gifts, viewer mail. So let's have a look at that first. So a parcel has arrived from one of my subscribers, Jim. And before I even unwrap them, I've already had a look. Before I unwrap them, I must say thank you so much, Jim. I really needed these, and I shall reveal what they are. So, gauges, we have 1 inch and 2 inch, another packet here, and we have a 25mm gauge, a 50mm gauge, and a 75mm gauge. I can now check and set my micrometers. So absolutely fabulous. I haven't got any gauges for setting mics. None of the mics I've got have got gauges in the boxes. I just have mentioned this before on a What's It that I meant to get some. Jim, thank you so much. So another thing has come through the post, and it is a spare dovetail cutter. What is it? It's a 3/4 diameter, 3/8 shank, 60 degrees dovetail cutter. I have got one dovetail cutter, very similar size. It's done a lot of work. It's starting to lose its edge, as it were. And I do intend, when I get my milling machine, I'm making a lot more tool posts, or a lot more tool holders for my quick change tool post. And I'm pretty much going to need more tool holders to keep the versatility on my tool post, because the new compound slide replacement block isn't going to allow for rotation of the tool post. So a few more tool holders, so that I got everything set up like a magazine of tool holders, so that all the tools I need for different things will all be, you know, available to keep its versatility, although I've locked it in position. So this is from Matt's. Matt's, thank you so much. It's great to have a spare one, and obviously this one being very sharp, what I'll probably do is use my existing one for roughing, and keep this one for my final cuts to get good finishing dovetails. So once again, thank you so much. So there's a fair bit of machining to do yet, but the first thing I've done is just popped 4 grub screws in these tapped holes to stop any of the cast iron that I'm machining going down and ruining my slideways. So yeah, I've just done that to block off the holes to save that. So I'm going to get my adapter plate up on here with my big vise, this vise here. Oh, we'll get that up on there, and then we'll put the block in. Something like that. Thankfully the vise does open that far. I got about 6mm to spare, and we'll start machining this cutout here to the finished thickness that I'm going to want the block. So I had a slight change of plan and decided the quickest way to get the majority of the material out of that corner was basically put it up in the forge and turn it out. So I've got approximately 5mm deep will be finished size, so I've just machined out 4mm. I haven't done any measuring up yet. It was rule sizes, so err on the side of safety, and I've machined it out 4mm almost to the one line. So yeah, now I'll put it up on a milling slide and we'll go from there. So I've bolted the plate down. A little job I do from time to time is make a racket in the corner. No, is just I sprayed in a bit of WD-40, and I got a nice oil stone here, and I'll just in case there's any little dinks or what have you. Just run the oil stone over the top, put it back in its box. I've had that oil stone some years, I can tell you. Just to remove any dinks or what have you that might have got into it, to keep that flat to the surface. There we go. And now I get the 2 little clamps, which I've hidden. Here we are. Okay, I've got a narrow one and a wide one. Narrow one goes at the back here, and that avoids the sliding jaw on the vise. Wide one on the back there somewhere. vice is nice and clean. Well, actually, and the vice clamps down like so. I won't clamp it down yet. We'll have a faff about with it and see where on the axis that we want the vice to be able to get to what we want to machine. So I got the block up on a milling slide. I'm just going to rough it out. Now I'm going to go within 1/2 mil of depth, 1/2 mil of that shoulder. May have to move it to get to the top end, we'll see. Rotate 90 degrees, come within 1/2 mil of this. So I'm going to leave it 1/2 mil up all around. I've got a boring bar in there I'm using as a single point cutter. I'd like to put it back probably 15 mil deeper into the collet, but it won't go any deeper and it's hitting the throat of the collet. So anyway, for roughing out, this is you know, really quite quick. I'm taking 1/2 mil at a time, and you can see the speed I'm going. I'm running 1,000 RPM. I'm going into a 0 on my DRO, which is, don't want to overrun it. There it is. Back off. I could put a cut on the way back, I suppose, but I haven't as yet. Yeah, off the edge. A bit of chatter you can hear is because I got the boring bar stuck out so far. I'd rather have it in another 15 mil or so, as I said, stop it bouncing. But it's much the same sort of chatter as you get with an intermittent cut if you were using it boring a hole. You know, it's the same thing exactly. I haven't got a great collection of milling cutters. You know, I got a few nice 12 mil ones, and I want to keep them nice if I can. I got plenty of carbide tips for this boring bar, so not only is it a faster way of doing it, it's probably more economical on milling cutters as well. So yeah, you get the general idea. The finished depth is going to be, well, it's actually 5.2, but I'm going to take it to sort of 4.5 mil, and then we will get the milling cutter back out and we'll tidy it all around with a milling cutter afterwards. So yeah, I'll bring you back when we're done. Well, so far so good. All roughed out to within 1/2 mil of dimensions here, and on the face as well. I decided to chop that little bit off on the end because the tool post doesn't come right to the end here. It just makes it easier for me to counterbore that hole, and I'm going to do the same thing here as well. I mean, there's no real need to have that little bit on the end. We've got plenty of flat surface for it to butt up against, so I'm just up and downing. I'm going to remove that section there. So yeah, I mean, you can see the method. Hang on, put a cut on. 1/2 mil at a time, and I just wind up on the milling slide. Hang on, you can't hear me. Wind up on the milling slide to cut that, back down again and take another cut, so on and so forth, till I get down to my 4.5 depth. And then I'll finish it off then with a normal milling cutter and go around it all again in one hit, one setup. Fortunately, I can just do it in one setup without moving it around to machine it all. So yeah, that's the plan. I'll bring you back when we're done. So I need, let me just come back off again, I've just done this once, to find a hole centre, hang on, a hole centre in here for the centre of the block, for the bolt down. And I want it to be very tight on the outside edges, there and there, when it's located. So I've got a 10 mil ground rod through into what is a 10 mil reamed hole in the bottom of here. If I just bring it up to touch on that base, as you can see, I'm a mile off this space at the moment. Let me just drop down a bit. Okay, a mile off. So if I wind my cross slide this way, in fact, let's go a bit closer, right, okay. And you can see I got movement. As I get closer, holding it against this space, It's rotating on the dowel. There. And I'll set a 0 there. Okay, I'll come back off. Now, I'm loose on the bottom face. So if I wind my milling slide up, that's it. Okay, and I'll wind back into my 0 there, and that block, or the hole now in the center of the block, is smack on to keep the block tight against these two faces. So that's why I've lined that up. So without moving the block at all, I've changed the 10mm dowel out for a centre drill, and I'm going to put a centre drill in that known position in the riser block. And again, when I put this block back up in the forge or chuck, I can clock up the centre drill and I know I'm back to the same spot. Think that'll do me. That'll do nicely. I think we'll settle for that. So the first feature of this hole is going to be an M10 all the way through, well, in the bottom half. I just drilled it through 8.5 for the M10. I'm going to clear it out now with a 10mm, and I'm going to go back probably about 8mm deep, so the thread doesn't start till about 8mm deep. There's going to be a register machined in the front of this to take a boss, which is going to pick up as a register on the tool post, but we'll come to that in a minute. So, yeah, I need to put a hole in here, 7mm deep. I've just machined a little recess, only 0.5 millimetre deep by a mil wide per side, just so that the when I fit the registered part in there, that there's an undercut basically between the base and the register. So if there's any little tiny bits of dirt in the corner or what have you, it's not going to foul on the underside of the tool post. So having done that, next job, M10 tap. Just get it started. Oh, chuck's come loose. There's 3 or 4 threads in there now. So yeah, M10 thread. I've started the tap by what's it now with the tap in the chuck, and I'll finish it off by hand in the vise. So yeah, got one of my Chatwin tap wrenches, my original one. I'm just going to finish tapping this off by hand. And as you saw, I started it nice and straight by doing it in the lathe. We're nearly there now. Oh, yeah, we're out the other side. In fact, this particular tap, I can't go quite deep enough because the main body of the tap is bigger than the thread, and it's going to bottom out. I think my my plug tap is quite a bit longer, so I should be able to finish it off with that. Sometime any second now. Should reach the, yeah, untapped portion. Oh, there we are. Look at that, we were one turn away from being able to get it with the taper tap. Anyway, never mind. That's it, job done. And I will have to just put a nice big countersink on the underside of that. So next 2 procedures on the block. I'm going to be machining away an angle on here about 45 degrees from this point, so that the swarf doesn't sit on top of the block, to let the swarf flow away. And again, on the back edge, I'm going to machine this space away at 45 degrees as well, something like that. Now, once I put the angles on, drilling that hole, and that hole are going to be quite difficult because I'm going to be drilling into a face. So I think at this point in time, I'm going to counter bore the 4 holes to take the Allen bolts. Now, with me having limited room, and these being M6s, that M10 or 10 diameter, in fact it's about 9.8, is very close to the edge, so I don't want to drill it out 10 mil. So I think what I'm going to be doing is probably reduce this head diameter down to about 9 or 8.8, take a mil off it, and I can do this then with a 9 mil drill. But on this side, I've got more space because I'm further in from the edge, so I can quite easily use a 10 mil and 10 mil flat bottom to countersink these 2 holes. So I've had a quick measure up, and I want the bolt stuck out 15 mil from the bottom into the compound slide. So I can, or into the compound, into the cross slide. So I've got to bore them out, these 2, at diameter 10 by 30 millimeters deep. So I'll get a 10 mil drill up, I'll drill them sort of 25 deep first of all, and then I'll get a flat bottom drill and drill them out to 30 deep. So standard 10 mil drill first. That'll do for the time being. So I'll get a flat bottom 10 in now and just peck away at them. As I said, I still haven't got a stop on this thing until the bolts stick out the bottom. Well, you can see at the moment they stick out about 4 mil. When they stick out the bottom by 15 mil, I'm to depth. I'm just wanting to skim down the heads of these bolts. This is the second one, there's only 2 to do. So I've got a setting on my DRO for diameter. And I'm just skimming them down. Nice little stainless bolts these. M6 by 25 long stainless. I got about 200 of them. When I do have to buy a bolt suit, I'll normally buy a box, unless it's something really obscure, but something like an M6 by 25 cap head, you know, where it hasn't got to be high tensile, I'll buy a box, and whatever that box quantity is. So I think a box of these, don't recall where I got them from, but I think a box of 200, something like about £6 or £7 I think for 200 of these. So yeah, I will as time goes on I'll get a better selection of bolts. Just a little chamfer on the underside of that head, and I'll just carefully put a little radius on the top, and that's the bolt done. So exactly the same setup, 9 mil flat bottom. I've got about 3 mil to go. On both holes. So I'll just drop my bolt in, have a little measure. Well, that'll do for that one. Yep, that'll do me. That's the 4 countersinks done, or counter bores I should say. 4 counter bores done. Right, okay, this is all going to be machined away, that's going to be machined away, that's staying where it is. So I think if that will go in there, oh, I think I'm just lucky. I'll just chamfer that hole off. Because I can get it's staying pretty much that surface where it is. So So yeah, I've got a little countersink. So just set my milling vise up in the lathe. I've marked a line 2 mil down from the front face, and I'm going to chop all this area off at 45 degrees. So I think the simplest way, even though it's upside down I can't see it very well, but the simplest way for me to do it is going to be to hold it in the vise, something like that, and then machine across the front face. So yeah, all set up. Set it up simply, 45 degrees with a protractor. It's a bit knocky. Be a bit better when I've got a wider face. Taking about 0.75 of a mil at a time, or 30 thou. And simply passing the workpiece back and forth in front of the fly cutter until I reach the little line that I've drawn on the underside, and I've got a fair way to go yet. That's the little counter bore it just went over the top of for the bolt. Now it's just catching the trailing edge with the fly cutter. There we are, we're off the end. So I'm 10 minutes down the line. I managed to take 1 mil cuts in the end. I'm getting very close to my line now, so I just drop back to a 0.5 cut. I'll run this one across and we should be done. I'm going to have a look at this when I take it out. I may actually put a secondary chamfer on, splitting the difference here. We'll see. I'll see what it looks like. Perhaps I should have gone more than 45 degrees. I don't know, maybe 60 degrees. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it looks. But I may just split the difference and put a secondary chamfer between those two faces. I mean, the swap will run away off that 45 degree, but I do like things to look nice if possible. And you can't always make things look pretty. Sometimes the design is inherently ugly. But I do like things to look nice if possible. So I think that's the final cut. And just come back across the face. I'm going to have a quick look underneath with an inspection lamp. I can't quite see under there, it's a bit dark. And we'll go from there. So on the second side now, exactly the same procedure, sat at a 45, and I'm taking a mil at a time, across the face until I reach a line. So I've had a bit of a play with it. I've machined a 45 there, a small one on there just to bring that wall thickness down, and I've also put a 45 on all four corners as well, just to get rid of the rough casting that was still there with the radius. So yeah, I think I need to do a bit of dressing up on this now. I'll take a look at it, perhaps put it in place and see what I'm thinking. I think I might be able to file some radiuses on all these corners slightly, obviously break the edge in these holes, maybe blend that corner over, same there. Yeah, a bit of tidying up generally. I may just do a bit more stoning on the back of there, I believe. But yeah, we're pretty much getting there now. I need to, probably the next procedure after tidying this up is going to be to make the clamping bolt. So before we finish this episode, as many of you know, I do follow and communicate with many other YouTubers, people like Active Atom, Everett's Workshop, Woods Creek Workshop, that sort of thing. I put them in alphabetical order then, that was quite good, so there's no preference, it was alphabetical. Anyway, a new guy has come to mind and we've communicated, and I've sent him some stickers, and when he gets his printed he's going to send them to me and I'll do him another shout out. But the guy is Rocking J Metalworks. Now, this guy is a veteran of Vietnam. He was involved in an accident many years ago. He can only spend a couple of hours a day in his workshop, but he's got great content and he's very enjoyable watch. So if you haven't seen him already, take a look at Rocking J Metalworks. Okay, let's draw this one to a close. I think we've got enough content. If you're a new viewer, you're very, very welcome. And if you're a continued subscriber, obviously you're always welcome. And thank you so much for all your support over, I think, what is now my 125th video, I believe this one is. So yeah, I'm still enjoying it, and I'm going to carry on. Episode 3 of the compound replacement block will be the final. I've actually, as I stand now here in the workshop, the job is complete. A little bit of polishing here and there maybe, but I will reveal that in the final clip. So, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers, guys.